Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I'm very well. Very well. Had a nice float session this morning. Yesterday, I got some nice cold water plunging in. Oh, I don't think I showed you where I went yesterday, did I?
You posted something on the Brotherhood channel. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Of this place I had like a waterfall, I think, near it. Is that it?
Yeah.
I did
Yeah,
see
it was
Great.
the water was raging. It was 10 degrees Celsius. So it's like what? 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It was cold. It's gonna get colder over the next 6 months. I'm loving it. You know, it's funny, everyone's like, oh no, winter, autumn is too cold. I'm like, oh, yes. It's too warm over summer in the water.
You got to get yourself one of these home units that I have. It doesn't matter what the temperature is, it's always consistent.
Yeah. Although I don't like it as much in summer because it's warmer, I do like working with the seasons.
Yes.
Like being in harmony with the seasons is cool.
Well, yeah, just being in nature is cool. Like, so what I have is the fridge, right? It's like a 7-foot fridge. I have no idea what that is in meters, but 7-foot fridge. And, you know, there's something sterile about that versus actually doing a nature cold plunge. I much prefer going in nature, but hey, getting up and walking 30 feet, you know, to my garage and hopping in there is super easy. I like easy too.
I tell you what, I think I shared with you, hang on, look. That's my bag.
A little hard for the people listening to the podcast, but you're holding up a...
Yeah, nice. Guys watching the videos can see. But point being is, I found myself really enjoying the cold plunge, and we'll get into the podcast in a minute. Enjoying the cold plunge, but I was like, why am I resisting going? And I thought, I get it. I don't want to drive all this way just to go plunging for 3 minutes and drive back. So how can I make this an experience? That's when I ordered the tarp. So I've got the tarp that I can set up between the trees. I've got my little seat that I bought, a little camping seat that's super comfy. Got all my little camping, cooking stuff as well. So it all fits in that bag, which is a change bag.
Yep.
So you stand in it instead of getting, trying to balance on loads of mud and all the rest of it. So anyway, point being is yesterday was the first time I got to live out, if you will, this experience. I bought a wild swimming guide for the UK, selected my spot the night before, drove to on this 30-minute drive, listening to an audiobook through the moorland. It was awesome. Parked up, it's about a 20-minute hike through some woods, following the river all the way up to the waterfall, and sat at my little spot with my seat, my journaling, got changed, dipped in. Oh man, walked back. It was just such an incredible start to the day. It was so nice. So the reason why I share that is when you said sterile for the fridge, I definitely see the value in having something easy and convenient to dive into. And the experience, like you said, of getting into nature and being there it was so fulfilling, and refreshing and invigorating. It was great just to be on my own as well.
Yeah.
And go do it. It was so nice.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I love the idea of doing both, right? So you have both options. When this whole flight restriction thing lifts, well, I'll have to go over there and we'll have to check out some of your favorite spots. I'll find a few here in Oregon for you in the States, and we'll make it happen.
Yep. Awesome. Yep. So there's something I want to bring to the table. I was speaking to a guy on Monday who was looking to, actually joined the activation method because his marriage was kind of falling apart and it's really blindsided him. He didn't see it coming at all. He thought he was doing all the right things, as most of us do, by going out there and making a lot of money, right? He's inherited a family business, took it on, grown it a lot. And he didn't understand why his wife is now saying, hey, if things don't change, I'm gone. He said, Tim, I find it so difficult because the business, it just meets so many of my needs. I get validation. I get to go out there and hunt. It's creativity. It's challenging. I feel so alive in there. I find it really difficult to then come home where I'm kind of a nobody to a degree.
Sure.
Getting business, I'm like the man. And I know we've touched on this in the past, just kind of privately in conversations, I think more than on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, such a common thing for us business leaders, right? Especially, well, there's two things that typically happen here, Tim. Is one is uh, guys aren't getting the validation, the significance at home that they desire, so they turn to business where they have more control over those elements, right? We often talk about the things, the hierarchy of needs for men, and significance is often number one for guys. And I don't want to say unconscious men, but you get what I'm saying. Like guys that haven't done a lot of work around it to change it, right? We want significance. Who am I? My ego, da 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 da. Women, it's safety, right? Safety and security is number one typically. So guys will go into business, right? They're not getting it at home. And so they'll spend more time in business because they're getting their accolades. They're able to go out, hunt, kill it. The people on their team are talking, you're the man, you're killing it, you're growing the company. People around them, they go to business lunches, dinners, they're getting invited to speak at events. You get the idea, right? They're getting all of their things. They're getting significance, validation, right? They're getting a feeling of power, admiration, all the things that we would love to have at home. They're getting it from their business. And so they become more workaholics. They spend more time there. Now, conversely, something that also happens to guys is they find themselves slipping into this just naturally, right? It's kind of this gravitational pull because the same things are happening. They're killing it at work, or they're working on killing it, and they get significance because they're grinding it out, and there's the identity play, and they leave a wake of destruction in their path with their family, right? They're drifting away. And oftentimes when we talk to the wives of a lot of these men, what they'll say is, yeah, so-and-so comes home, let's say Jason comes home, but I get the worst of him. I get the crap. I get the leftovers, right? And so these guys are getting their validation and significance from work. They're getting their needs met at work. And so when they come home, they fall into a beta mode. And their wife, therefore, has to be the alpha and has to be the masculine energy, where he becomes more feminine because he's just tired, he's exhausted. And at home, he just doesn't see the significance that he's seeing at work. And something that's also interesting that plays off in here, Tim, is a lot of these guys, if their business wasn't working, they would do anything and everything to pull it up. Anything and everything. Hire the right consultants. They would work on the business model. They would get sales. They would make those sales calls, 2, 3, 50 sales calls a day if they needed to. They would do whatever it took to build that business back up. However, when they come home, they just retreat, right? They retreat to the TV, they retreat to porn. It's just easier not to argue. Previous episode, we talked about lying to your spouse just to make it easy, right? They retreat there. And the reason I think that we as men do that is because at work, right, we have almost like a representative, this mask that we can wear. But at home, the people closest to us can hurt us the most, right? Because we care what they think, right? We care so much more about them and what they think. And for a lot of men, I'm guessing most of the guys listening to this, right, they would say the reason that they conquer so much at work is to protect the people they love. Yet how much of themselves do they give to the people they love?
And I think there's a few things there. You said a lot of great things. I think part of the reason as well why guys come home and they retreat is I think they don't realize that the wife wants them to lead at home. I think they fall into the trap of thinking, hey, I'm going out there killing it in business. That's my role. I'm doing enough. And I get that. And, I want to just credit the men that do reach out to us and do join the program, because to be fair to them, Doug, when this guy in particular, he said, you know what, Tim, I'd give the business up. I want my wife. She's my best friend. I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep her. And it's just shocked him. It's just come out of nowhere, right? And I think it's a bit of a societal thing, because more than likely he saw his father do it. And in fact, she saw her father do it. And that's what scares her. She said, hey, I saw my father build this business and it tore our family apart. And I'm not willing to have that happen here. So unless something changes, I'm gone.
Yeah.
So credit to this guy when he realized that he was in total shock, but still reached out, joined the program, which is great. Shout out to this guy. He said something to me which I found really interesting. Tim, look, if I have to choose, I will. I'm choosing my marriage. I'm like, look, you don't have to choose. This is a great thing, right? You can have both here. You can still have that hunter, that creativity, the significance, everything that serves you so well in business. You can still have all of that. In fact, you can have more of that, because when you actually turn down the noise at home and you can go into the office when there's harmony at home. So instead of worrying about what's happening in the marriage and worrying about whether or not you're going to walk into a war zone at the end of the day, you're actually able to have free up that headspace so you get more of what you love in business. And when you learn what's required from you at home and you learn how to balance it with certain tools and practices, then you can actually walk into a sanctuary as well. Your wife's actually excited to see you. She'll give you those little text messages. Hey, honey, I'm really looking forward to you getting home. What time are you going to be back tonight? And this guy said to me, he said, you know what, Tim? Instead of booking in more business meetings to avoid going home, I want to be pushing back meetings because I'm so excited to get home. I want to be in a meeting and I want to be looking at my watch and thinking, right, 10 minutes to go, 10 minutes. I want to be that excited to get home because my home is the place where I get the significance. And the truth is, for this guy, once he understands a few things, one of them primarily is that his wife wants to be provided for emotionally before financially. And he understands how to meet her needs emotionally without her telling him what they are. That's why we designed the hidden motives technique, right?
Yep.
And he uses these things, does it authentically as well, not trying to manipulate his wife or, come from a place of neediness to get her approval or attention. Things at home will start to shift as well. And that's where, like I said, he's going to be able to have both of these. He'll stop turning to work for validation because he doesn't need to, because he's getting it at home. But the great thing is there, business will rise as well.
I love that. Yeah, it's really interesting. I know from myself, Tim, like in my relationship early on, when things weren't working out, right? It would be arguing with the wife and not wanting to go home. It was easy to turn to work for that validation, right? When I went to work, whether it be the women or men at work, looked up to me, right? I was the community. I was very involved in my community and philanthropically, respected, looked up to. And I went home, and it was like this complete shift. It was like all of a sudden, I didn't get it. Well, I didn't get that I was being tested. I didn't get that, from my wife's perspective, she saw this amazing guy being super nice to everybody, charismatic. And then I got home, I was tired and I wasn't as nice. And she was testing me. I would fail the test. And then I'd be like, screw this. I don't want to deal with this. I don't have to deal with this. And I almost had this, it's going to sound horrible, but it's true. I almost had this, like, do you know who I am? Like, I don't have to put up with this. I was
thinking that exact thing about 3 seconds ago. Do you not know who I am?
Yeah, I don't have to put up with this. Nobody treats me like this. Yeah. And then what happened for us is my wife started to get more masculine, and being a guy, I grew up with, I have 2 older brothers. I always grew up, almost fighting and doing, like, I get more masculine, and then we just butted heads. And then I also had this internal dialogue, like, you got to treat women with respect, and, which I do. And so it's this dichotomy that was going on for me. And I just didn't know where to go. And the powerful man didn't exist at the time. Right. And luckily the methodologies that we've developed are the same ones that allowed me to turn that into the most amazing relationship with my wife currently, where she's able to flow in her femininity. I get to go do the work that inspires me and I love, and I get what I need at home. Right. And I think that the difference is here for the guys, at least if I were to speak to myself, my old self, is you can have both. It's not this or that, it's this and that. And that's the difference. And I agree with you. I give validation and credit to these guys that raise their hand, right? Because it's scary to admit that crap's not working out, right? It's scary to admit that your marriage isn't perfect. It's scary to admit all of these things, but that's the definition of courage, right? Courage is being scared and doing it anyway. being afraid and facing fear and doing it anyway. That's a definition of courage. And you cannot have courage without fear. You just can't. It's a definition. So I give all the guys that come through the program just a ton of credit. I mean, these are absolutely amazing guys. So much so that, the Brotherhood, which is our 1-year mastermind program where guys spend over $20K to be involved. There was a guy in there who missed his first call with you, right? 6 months later, had the courage to show up again. And he posted in the Brotherhood, and it was just out, I get emotional thinking about it, where he says, I'm hiking up this mountain to do my breath work and a whole list of other things that he's learned through this 1-year program that he's been on. I'm hiking up the same mountain that a year ago, almost to the day, I hiked up to jump off. Nobody knew. Nobody knew he sat in this quiet desperation, right? Killing it in business, right? Doing all these great things, but it just wasn't working at home, and he was getting ready to end it. Mm-hmm. And luckily, this guy's amazing. One of my favorite guys. And, he turned it around. He raised his hand. He had the courage to step up. He took the validation that he was getting at work and was able to use the tools to switch it and get that same significance, validation, everything at home. And his paradigm, his world completely shifted. I mean, imagine going to the same place that you were going to go kill yourself a year later, and now you're doing breath work and all kinds of stuff, filling your soul. He and his wife have the closest relationship. I was talking to him about it yesterday on our sexual mastery course. Things are just flying off the charts for him. And I think as men, we get to remember that we know we can do that in business. I know if I have a bad year, Tim, my P&L, my balance sheet, something's happening, I'm in a lawsuit, whatever's going on, I know that I can pull it out. I just know it. That's just me. I can do it. But I think oftentimes us as leaders, we forget that we can also do that in other areas of our life.
So true. And something I said to this guy as well, that we're talking about here. I said, look, you don't have to choose. The wife doesn't want you to choose. You might think that she does because of what she's saying. And just imagine if you would say, he said, look, I'll sell it all and, I'll just move away with her and we'll have enough money for the next 10 years. We'll have enough to retire. So I'll have to work again and I'll figure that out when I get to it. But I'm that kind of guy. I'll figure it out. And I said, look, being an entrepreneur is who you are, right? So to try and give it up for your marriage, just imagine how miserable you would then be in your marriage. It'd be like trying to cut your right arm and left leg off, right?
Yeah.
Trying to go and live your life in the same way. It just wouldn't be the same. And not only that, your wife would get a completely different man to the man that she married, because business fills you up so much and it's a great outlet for you. So listen, may as well just drop that idea now, because it's not going to work. It's not going to serve anybody. And you just resent the marriage and resent your wife, and she'd probably resent you too. So yeah, there is a way where you can have both. So anyway, he joined, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. I think he's going to be a great case study. So no doubt you'll see his videos, not you guys, but the listeners, maybe you'll see his videos in a few months, because like I said, he's ready, he's raring, he's taking action, and he's in a good spot.
Yeah. And again, you talk to him, the thing that occurs to me is, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Why not both? You can do both. You and I have proven this. And so hundreds of other guys, you can do both and coming through this. So, what I would say to the guys listening to this, if you're finding this to be the case, that when you're looking forward to going to work because you feel more yourself, you feel more alive, right? First of all, did you ever feel that way at home? Really? And the answer is probably yes. And if that's the case, you can have that back, right? That's a choice. And it's a choice in the sense that you got to do work to get back there. I'm not going to lie. It's not always an easy road for a lot of guys, because you have to do the deep internal work, which is the hardest part, because you have to be real and honest with yourself, right? While you're fulfilling your needs. And it's almost like when we seek validation, we seek these things, which are egoic, right? When we seek these things at work, it's almost like the fast food of life. You're not getting the gourmet. You're not getting the gourmet meal, which is having this passionate love relationship, right? Instead, you're in a sexless marriage or a sexless relationship. Look, sex is fun and you should have a lot of it, right? You don't want to be that. You want the gourmet. You want the 4-course meal. You want to go to the Michelin star restaurant. You don't want to go just to McDonald's and grab something really quickly on the way. That's crappy. You don't deserve that. Stop being involved in fast food life and start being involved in gourmet. And the gourmet part of life is really going to get you where you want to go. You can get your validation at home. You can get your significance at home, but you also got to meet your wife's needs, right? If you're not meeting her needs, if you're giving her the crap, the leftovers, as many of us guys do, if you're giving her and your family the leftovers where they're only getting you at the end of the day and on the weekends when you're exhausted, it's not good enough, guys. Just not good enough. So gentlemen, I'm going to invite you to the possibility of looking at your life a little bit differently, looking at what you're getting out of work a little bit differently. First of all, answer these questions and answer them honestly. Are you looking forward to going to work and getting out of the house, right? And while at work, are you finding yourself, you're getting the validation you want? People see the man that you are at work, but they don't see it at home, right? And if that's the case, it's yes to any of those, then it's time to make a shift, right? Use courage, right? Remember, courage includes fear. It's not in the absence of fear. You can't have courage if there's no fear, right? Courage is stepping into something that you're scared of, right? It's raising your hands, admitting, hey, I could use a little help. Show me the path. Like this guy that climbed the mountain to jump off, but then made the decision to get on the call. And I think he got on the call with you, Tim. He got on the call, and then a year later, his life is totally different. Can you imagine if he would have jumped off, right? He was killing in business, kids, wife without a husband, kids without a father, us as men, people, myself, without having another great man in this world. This guy's an amazing man, right? So there's no need to live in quiet desperation. There's another solution out there for you. So gentlemen, as always, I invite you to take action here. Do the work. Take the action. Go ahead, answer those questions. Do the deep dive. Bonus points if you journal about it, right? There's something about writing it down, right? There's that kinesthetic process. Write it down. You can burn it, throw it away. You don't have to show it to anybody, but write it down so you can really get to the truth here and see if it's something you like and something you like to see. And guys, as always, go over to thepowerfulman.com/bonus and grab a bonus training. Right now, I think we have back up again is the Reignite cheat sheet. It's our most popular bonus that we've had up there. And try some of the methodologies in there. It's totally free. No obligations. It's our gift to you. So it's thepowerfulman.com/bonus. And make sure you're doing that right away. Gentlemen, as always, have an amazing day. And that's a wrap for us here at The Powerful Man Show.